Hello students, this is molecular basis of inheritance part 4. So today we are going to talk about this another experiment, second experiment, every McCarthy and McLeod's experiment. So what they did, they first gave evidence to prove that DNA is transforming principle through their experiment. Every McCarthy and McLeod experiment is in continuation with the Griffiths experiment. You can say that it is the next half part of the Griffiths experiment. They purified the DNA, RNA, proteins, that is enzymes and other materials from the cell-free extract of the S cells. If you remember, Griffith observed the S strain in the tissue of dead mice. What these scientists they did, they specified the material. Okay, it was not sure in the Griffiths experiment that which was the transforming principle. Okay, something caused the R strain to get converted into smooth or S strain in the Griffiths experiment. But Griffith was not sure whether that transforming principle was a protein, whether that transforming principle was a DNA or it was RNA or any other material like carbohydrate or anything else. He was not able to answer that question in his experiment. So that it doesn't mean that a Griffith's experiment was not productive. Yes, it was productive, but what every McCarthy and McLeod experiment in this experiment, what these three scientists they did, they purified the DNA, RNA, and proteins from the cell-free extract of the cells, S cells, to understand which is the transforming principle or which is the transforming material which causes the rough strain to get transformed or to get changed into virulent smooth strain. Then what they did when they separated or purified the DNA, RNA and proteins, then they mixed it with the heat killed S strain and R cells separately. They mixed the same DNA, RNA, proteins, and they mixed them with the heat killed S strain and the R cells separately. What they observed that only DNA was able to transform harmless strain R into deadly strain S. If you can observe this diagram, now they did a test tube assay. These are the test tubes. You can see there are 4 test tubes. In the first test tube, observe carbohydrates of S type of bacteria are present. Okay, so they separated the carbohydrates, they added into it, and this is the culture medium. You can see these 3 tubes and this one third tube. There is a difference in the diagram. These 3 are R strains and the one is with the S type of bacteria. So the transformation occurred in this test tube. Okay, so this is a carbohydrate containing test tube, this is protein containing test tube, this is DNA containing test tube, and this is DNA of S bacteria with the deoxyribonuclease. Deoxyribonuclease is the enzyme which digests the DNA. Okay, so only the intact DNA brings about transformation of the R type into S type in the third test tube. If you observe, now this test tube contains the DNA, but as it is with the deoxyribonuclease, deoxyribonuclease is the enzyme which denaturates the or it destructs the structure of DNA. Okay, so it cuts the DNA into pieces. So this is the intact DNA. Okay, so this is the conclusion which the Avery, McCarthy and McLeod they proved by their experiment. When they used the protein digesting enzymes, that is proteases, and RNA digesting enzyme, these are RNases, they discovered that both of them don't affect the transformation. That means even if there is presence of proteases, when the proteases were added in the test tube, proteases affect or they disturb the structure or function of the protein. Okay, and the RNA digesting enzyme, RNases, they digest the RNA structure. Proteases, they digest the proteins. So whenever the proteins or the RNAs, they were digested the enzymes, when they added in the test tubes, they discovered that both of them, they don't affect the transformation process. So the transforming substance was neither a protein nor RNA. It was DNA, which is present in the third test tube. Even if those three scientists, Avery, McCarty, and McLeod, they concluded that DNA get digested with the DNAs, did inhibited transformation, suggesting that DNA caused the transformation. But these experiments proved that the transforming principle is DNA, but all biologists, they were not convinced. Another last experiment which you have is Hershey and Chase experiment. Both of them, they worked with the viruses that infect the bacteria, that is bacteriophages. Bacteriophages are composed of the DNA and a protein. Now this is the DNA, and this bacteriophage, it contains another part that is made up of protein. So they used radioactive phosphorus P32 in the medium for some viruses, and radioactive sulfur S35 for some others. So let's try to understand what is the bacteriophage. So a bacteriophage, now this is a bacteriophage. Okay, so a bacteriophage is a type of virus that infects the bacteria. In fact, the word bacteriophage literally means bacteria eaters, because bacteriophage destroy their host cell. Now host cell is the bacterial cell. All bacteriophages are composed of a nucleic acid. Now this is a nucleic acid present inside the head of the bacteriophage, and that is surrounded by a protein structure. Apart from this DNA, all the structure is made up of the protein. So Hershey and Chase, they worked with the viruses that infect the bacteria, that is bacteriophages, and which are composed of DNA and protein. Okay, now this is the DNA, which is blue colored part, and other part is the protein, of which the bacteriophage is made up of. So when viruses infect the bacteria, their genetic material is injected. Now see, you can understand this is these are the steps. The first step is they land. Now this blue colored surface is nothing but the bacterial surface or bacterial cell. Okay, so what the viruses they do, they land. So this is the first step, that is landing. Another is spinning. Okay, this is the next step. Third is the contraction and penetration. Okay, so here this is the third step, and in the last step, the virus, it injects the genetic material inside the bacterial cell. Okay, so with the help of these viruses, as the viruses, they infect the bacterial cell into the and they inject their genetic material in the bacterial cell. So what Hershey and Chase, they worked to discover whether it was a DNA or a protein. What is the transforming principle? For that, they performed that experiment with the bacteriophages. Okay, so they used radioactive phosphorus, that is P32 medium, as we have discussed in the previous part. For some viruses, they used another medium. It was composed of P32 radioactive material. Another medium was with the radioactive sulfur. Okay, S32. Now this is very important to understand. One medium composed of phosphorus, another medium, it is composed of sulfur. Now why they have selected these two types of media for their growth of the viruses? It is very important, as the DNA contains phosphorus and not sulfur, while proteins contain only sulfur and not the phosphorus. So their main motto was to differentiate, to get to be very, they wanted to understand which is the transforming principle. Okay, whether it's DNA or protein. So they were confused with the proteins and DNA. So what they did, they used different types of radioactive material or media to for the growth of the viruses. Okay, so as DNA contains only phosphorus, it does not contain sulfur, and on the other hand, proteins, they contain sulfur and not the phosphorus. So therefore some viruses, they were with the radioactive DNA, and some with the radioactive proteins. Okay, protein codes. So what they did, they grew some viruses on a medium that contained radioactive phosphorus, and some others on medium that contain radioactive sulfur. Viruses grown in the presence of radioactive phosphorus contain radioactive DNA. It is called as labeled DNA, but not radioactive proteins, because DNA contains phosphorus, that is labeled DNA, okay, but proteins do not. So similarly, viruses grown on radioactive sulfur contain radioactive protein but not radioactive DNA, because DNA does not contain sulfur. So that was their main observation, or that was their main aim. So what Hershey and Chase they did, they used radioactive sulfur and radioactive phosphorus uh, for the growth of viruses. So they added radioactive sulfur in one medium and radioactive phosphorus on another medium. They allowed the growth of two different viruses. So one virus was with the S35 and another was with P32. Okay, that is the radio labeling of the viruses. Then what they did, they allowed those viruses to infect the E. coli cells to the bacterial cells. After the infection, what they did, they after the infection they used the centrifugation process. Okay, with this centrifugation the viral coats were removed with the help of centrifugal force. Now you observe in this slide, now this is the blue colored dot. These are the test tubes, circular circles which are rotating in a circular motion. These are actually the test tubes. Okay, and this blue color dot is rotating. Now we'll try to understand with this another diagram. Now see, these are the test tubes which are present inside the centrifugal machine. So what is the use of this centrifugal force? Now centrifugation is the process which is used to separate the particles which are present in the test tube. Okay, now if you observe in the diagrams which are in this, in the middle of this test, there are two test tubes. Okay, one is written with the before centrifugation, another is written with after centrifugation. Okay, so before centrifugation is with suspended with the particles. Now let's assume that these particles, these are the E. coli cells or bacterial cells infected with the viruses. Okay, and after centrifugation what happens, the particles are gone, but we get the two different shades in the another test tube. Okay, in the another test tube we are getting two shades, because the solids and liquids, they are separated because of the centrifugal force. Okay, so what happens, we get two shades. These two shades, these are known as, the upper part is known as supernatant and the lower part is, which is thick or which is dark blue, this is known as palette. Okay, so now in this slide, we'll try to understand the whole experiment, whatever we have studied. Okay, so in the Hershey and Chase experiment, Hershey used the bacteriophages. In this diagram, let's try to understand how the bacteriophages, they infect the bacterial cell. So if you are able to observe what are the changes which are occurring in this diagram, observe it very carefully. Now these are the bacteriophages. Okay, these are the bacteriophages. The green colored part is the protein coat. Okay, and the red colored part, which is the getting injected inside the bacterial cell. Okay, that red colored part is the genetic material of the bacteriophage. Now this is very important, because what Hershey and Chase they did, they used the bacteriophages to differentiate or to get a specific answer that whether the genetic material is a protein or whether that genetic material is a DNA. Okay, so for that they use the bacteriophages. As you have understood now that bacteriophages, they contain only two, they are made up of only two parts. One which is present inside the head, that is their genetic material, and the whole body, whatever capsid and tails, whatever it is made up of protein. So bacteriophages, they contain only two parts. Okay, one is the DNA, another is the protein coat. Is that clear now? Okay, so let's try to understand how he concluded that by just infecting the bacteriophages, by infecting the bacterial cells with the bacteriophages. Okay, so you're having this chart also. So let's have a look. Now Hershey and Chase, in that experiment, they used T2 phages. They infect the E. coli cells. Okay, now these are the E. coli cells. You have watched that how the bacteriophages, they insert their genetic material inside the bacterial cell. Okay, the red part was getting inside the bacterial cell while the green part was outside the bacterial cell. So protein is outside the bacterial cell. Okay, and the red part, that is genetic material, is inside the bacterials. Okay, this you have to understand very clearly if you want to understand the Hershey and Chase experiment. Okay, so he infected the T2 phages to the E. coli cells. The T2 phages, there were two kinds of T2 phages he used. One those viruses which were grown on S35, so their protein, it was radio labeled. Okay, the protein, in the protein contains sulfur, so all the sulfur which is present in the protein of those viruses, it was radio labeled with S35. So there was radioactivity in the protein coat, while the phosphorus containing, the DNA contains phosphorus, the phosphorus radio labeled medium, that is P32. So DNA, the viruses or the phages which were grown on that medium, so their DNA was radio labeled with the P32. So their DNA was radio labeled. Okay, so these two parts you have to understand in the first half part of the experiment. Next half portion of this is very easy, what you have observed in this diagram, and we have discussed about the centrifugation process, which is shown in the next test tubes or in the supernatant and pellet part. So let's talk about the next half part of the Hershey and Chase experiment. Now he collected the two different samples, collected two different phages. Okay, one was with the radio labeled protein and another was with the radio labeled DNA. He separated these two cells. Okay, and then what he did, what you have studied in the earlier slide, what is he did, centrifugal, he applied centrifugal force. So he added that material in that test tube, and he applied the centrifugal force by using the centrifugal machine. And what happened, because of the centrifugal force, the cells, they were separated. Now see, in the radioactivity was in the supernatant. Now let's try to understand this. These are the two layers, whether you are talking about the labeling of S35 protein labeling or you are talking about the DNA labeling with P32. Observe, when the centrifugal force is applied, we get the supernatant. Now see, supernatant and the pellet. Now the pellet contains the bacterial cells and the supernatant contains the protein. Why? Because when the bacterial cells get infected, now see, the viruses, when they infect the bacterial cells, the DNA or the genetic material gets injected inside the bacterial cell. Okay, so the bacterial cells become more heavy, and the the protein coat which is outside, that green colored part, it is the empty protein coat, right? When the red material gets injected inside the bacterial cell, what remains outside? It is just the empty protein coat, the green colored part. That's it, which is lighter. Okay, so the lighter part remains at the upper portion of the test tube, that is in the supernatant, while the bacterial cells, they are heavier than the protein coat, so they present in the pellet portion. Okay, so in the first test tube, in the protein, where the protein was radio labeled, radioactivity was in the supernatant. So the proteins, as the bacteriophages, they are made up of protein, so the radioactivity was found to be present in the supernatant, while in the another portion, the radioactivity was found to be present in the pellet, that is the DNA. So DNA is the genetic material that was proved specifically by the Hershey and Chase. So what is the conclusion of Hershey and Chase experiment? That after infection, radioactivity for P32 and S35, when it was tested, only radioactive P32 was found inside the bacterial cell, and indicating that DNA is the genetic material. So that's all for today's session. Thank you.